bench press is not as good as weighted push-ups for the purpose of hypertrophy. You get more range of motion. You get a degree of loading that is, push-ups are honestly easier than bench press. People who struggle with benching 225, they can knock out a set of 20 push-ups, have that high rep chest work through an extended range of motion, and then be able to add weight to that. You can do close grip push-ups, you can do wide grip push-ups, you can do incline, decline. All of these things contribute to it being a far more versatile tool that a lot of people are gonna have a lot more fun with because you're gonna be better at it. You're gonna be able to bang out a lot of reps, get a great mind-muscle connection. Bench press is for people, quite honestly, that are either a little bit more experienced and have that baseline level of strength to allow them to just warrant doing a bench press to begin with, or it's for people, quite honestly, they're in that gal to milk a day club, they're just naturally strong, this and that. That's my opinion piece for today. Y'all tell me how you feel about that. All right, so that was the opinion piece. Sorry about the little break I took. Actually, I'm not sorry. I've been playing Elden Ring and it's been fucking awesome, but I needed a little recalibration time, but we're right back in it with this banger of a Q&A. Please let me know how you feel about that opinion piece. But again, just be civil. Guys, like, if you disagree with me, that's fine. I'm inviting the dialogue. Just don't express some social skills, you know what I'm saying? Don't act like you have a soggy Cheeto for a brain, unless you do, and you know, you're not capable of better. But please be civil, be respectful, or we're gonna call you nerds around here. But starting off with our first question, what are your thoughts on heavy barbell curls or heavy tricep pushdowns for bicep and tricep growth? As a newer lifter, my biceps are especially small, and I'm not sure if these would beat down on my recovery. But I've heard that this helps a lot, particularly on Jeffrey's channel. So Jeffrey is fucking jacked. He's probably the most jacked natural that's like, you know, 20% body fat or lower. There are more jacked naturals that are like heavier than him, but of the like 10 to 20% body fat range, he's probably the most jacked of all of us. I think second place would be natural hypertrophy, but overall Jack's just, I just called him Jack Hanema, like that. Case in point, I just compared him to his, you know, the biggest, most jacked motherfucker in Baki. Jeffrey is a big guy, so anything he says I fully endorse in terms of building size. Obviously, he's good at it. But what you want to keep in mind, what I talk about as well is torso versus limb dominance, and then putting an actual, you know, something that you can chew on with that. If your arms are long, you're likely going to be someone that gets more hypertrophy from bench presses, more hypertrophy from pulls. If your arms are shorter, you have way more room to add things like curls, and you probably should. You have less room to do that if you're doing a lot of bench pressing and you have longer arms. So if you fall into that category, pick here. If you fall into that category, pick here. Excellent question though, bro. I appreciate it. So next question, AL. Increased my deadlift accessory volume recently, and although I've been getting stronger, I've noticed that I've become a lot more stiff in that area. Can you recommend some mobility work or stretches for lower back in this case? So just making sure, so in general, if you're getting stronger at a movement, you're pushing volume and intensity on it. Your body is being subjected to stress that it hasn't been subjected to before, more than likely. You're gonna wanna make sure, like you said, that you're warming up thoroughly. So one that I really enjoy for, you know, hip hinges in particular is, you know, medium to higher rep kettlebell swings to open up your hip hinge workout. What that does is that it just gets everything nice and loose, gets your spinal erectors nice and warm, your ass nice and warm. Someone's gonna talk about that in the comments, but it'll just get everything nice and loose and ready to deadlift. So you can do that before and after. Really light, so just focus on getting good localized blood flow. It's the same thing that I talk about with bench press. Okay, so for someone who trains with time constraints, would the smaller muscle groups be trained adequately and grow without the need for isolation as long as compounds are targeted with sufficient volume, i.e. weighted ring dips and weighted ring push-ups for vertical? Okay, so what I'm gonna say is one, how much time do you have? If you have an hour, I can go through everything head to toe, including isolations and compound movements, provided that you rest for your bigger stuff, you rest less for your smaller stuff, and that you're supersetting. If you have at least an hour, hour 15, you can get in a full workout look at what I do and then you can do it too. But if you're someone that maybe even has even less than that, the same thing is gonna apply. So what I'm gonna recommend is that you superset agonist muscles. So like chest with chest, legs with legs. It's not going to be best for strength and size, but you're already working in a situation where, or it's not gonna be best for strength, but you're already working in a suboptimal situation. It's really gonna let you get in all the quality work in terms of reps and sets that you need to get bigger, you know what I'm saying? While you're still able to do things like curls and such and not have to necessarily neglect things just because you're working with a time constraint. All right, so next question. This is from Instagram. Is sumo deadlift practical for general strength / athletes versus conventional? So I guess, bro, it really would depend upon what you're using it for. So typically for athletes, something or an area that you're trying to fill with their strength and conditioning program is fulfilling like the ability to maximally exert force quickly. In which case, squats are generally going to be a better option, even if they're, you know, like a high box squat. They use them in football all the time. So that's what will cover, you know, like the athletic aspect of it. You're just trying to generate as much force as possible, as quickly as possible. So a squat would be a little bit better for that. But if you're looking for general strength, I always say stiff leg deadlift master race. You're still using a pretty decent load. It's not anywhere near what you can pull conventional or sumo. It's just because of the way that you position yourself and the fact that it's more of a back exercise and hamstrings. You're not recruiting everything with as good leverages or as many muscle groups. That's gonna have more general carryover to your different lifts. So if you're someone where you already have a hip hinge or a squat and you get really strong at Romanian deadlifts or stiff-legged deadlifts, they're both the same fucking thing. It's gonna give you better carryover than just getting better at conventional deadlift, which is more, you know, specialized in just being good at deadlifting. It's a great question though, I appreciate it. So our next question is from Instagram as well. Is maxing out twice a week, high bar and front squat followed by accessories too much? So it might not be too much, but it just depends upon what the rest of your programming looks like. Tons of people have classically squatted every day, but they're doing less to compensate for that. That's not my favorite. It does work though. Look at Ivan Jurek. You know, pretty fit guy, pretty decently generally strong in every aspect. But the way he trains, he's not like pushing everything maximally at the same extent that he does his squat. He does do his accessories, but his training is adjusted to accommodate for squatting every day, you know what I mean? So it could be, it might not be. Just take that, audit your own training. If it's too much, it's too much. If it's not, it's not. So I said I would go into more detail, but this was a good question too. Blocks versus trying to periodize for strength and hypertrophy at the same time in an off season. So I said that you can really work on both at the same time, but what you emphasize is what you would differentiate in your block if you wanted to do that. If you, for example, are training in an off season for powerlifting, it would behoove you to keep in your competition movements just so that you're not spending a lot of your prep trying to knock the cobwebs off in terms of your form or anything like that. A lot of people fall into this pitfall of just doing self-limiting variations or non-specific stuff for too long while treating their off season as an excuse for like, oh, you know, it's an off season, so I don't have to squat, bench, and deadlift. Well, that's valid if you know need like a mental break from them, for example, or you know you just don't feel like doing them. But if you want to be as good as you can be and maintain your fitness in squat, bench, and deadlift, you better be squat, bench, and deadlifting in your off season as well. I would just look at making it more sustainable to where like you can do that and it's not like a big thing. You know what I'm saying? So there should always be an element of powerlifting training in your off season, no matter what. Now, in terms of just different hypertrophy work that you can use, you can bias the ratio depending upon the block. So you might have one that's more strength focused, you might have one that's more hypertrophy focused, and there you go. So BQ, Noble Natty of the fucking Raider captain of the Noble Natties. I almost forgot your title. They ask, how could a trap bar deadlift be placed in a Jimbo program that mainly cares about increasing squat and conventional deadlift? I said that was an excellent question. So the main thing about trap bar deadlifts, they get a lot of fucking heat as being like a noob exercise or being like a DL exercise that Grandma Josephine does. It's always fucking DLs that say that though, ironically. So trap bar deadlift is great for adding in good concentric volume. So the ability to strain and pull something off the floor while sparing your lower back a little bit. That in of itself is a good skill. So if you're getting more reps and sets where you're straining to pull something off the ground and it's not as fatiguing on your lower back, there's infinite utility in that. So you could use a block pull, but then you find that you fall into the same thing where your back is still being recruited a little bit because the bar is in front of you. With a trap bar, not only is the bar like more midline potentially, you're using your quads a little bit more, and overall it's just less fatiguing than like a conventional deadlift with a bar, even if you're doing a block pull typically. Now for someone that is using it as maybe proxy to deadlift volume for the purposes of strength, the low handle trap bar is also really good. So earlier I was talking about the high handle. The low handle is where you can start to, use some of your deadlift volume, or all of it if you just want to be good at trap bar deadlift, as proxy to some of that deadlift volume. So really good utility on the trap bar deadlift. It gets shit talked a lot by DLs and by Mucinex booger powerlifters. The next question: how would you base cardiovascular standards similar to how it's done for strength? So I'm someone personally, like I have my gym nemesis strength standards just to give y'all something to chew on. But truthfully, I don't think strength standards when categorizing people. I'm thinking like, how do they eat? How do they sleep? What is their consistency? How sensitive are they to certain things that we do in training? Like what can they do and still progress from it? That's how I categorize lifters. And there's not really, in my opinion, like a true intermediate, advanced, or beginner. In my opinion, like we're all intermediate for life. Like we're all fucking learning still, unless we're the best on the planet, you know what I mean? But some might call me advanced. So I don't categorize strength really like that practically. I give certain, spitball certain things to give y'all certain things to chew on, but really I would just look at, are you able to get through your weight training sessions and not feel like you're fucking dying? Like it's okay to feel winded. You should feel winded, especially if you're moving. You're not resting a whole lot. You're not resting 12 minutes between your sets. Like you should feel a little bit fatigued, but you shouldn't be to the point where like you're on the floor fucking puking, you're dying, you're gasping for air. If you're doing that, your cardio sucks, or you're doing some fucking T-Nation level workout where you're doing way too many reps. If you can build your cardio to the extent where you can push volume like you need to in your workouts and you're not fucking gassing out after 2 sets into your workout, that's how I would categorize it as, okay, you're someone that has a good level of fitness and you can continue to push your weight training. That's a great question though. The next question: how much cardio should a powerlifter incorporate into their training? So this kind of segues off of our last question. So there are different opinions on this. Some people say don't do cardio at all, it's non-specific and it'll eat into your knee recovery and your meniscus will explode and blah, 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 blah. Look guys, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like if you're trying to optimally sprint or optimally pursue anything that involves your legs, yes, it is gonna take away from your recovery in terms of squatting volume, shit like that. But if you're just, hopping on the treadmill and speed walking a few times a week, or you walk like 10,000 steps a day like I do, that's only gonna improve your cardiovascular ability. It's only gonna improve your ability to do more reps and sets. And it's gonna also improve recovery, quite honestly. Like, key fucking example. I typically get in about 10 to 12,000 steps per day, no matter what, doesn't matter. The other day, or the past 2 days, I was playing Elden Ring. I sat in a fucking chair for all day, quite honestly. So my lower back felt fucking insane. My neck felt insane. And it's just because I wasn't moving around. I'm a person where I talk with my hands. I walk around all damn day. I take walks, all this and that. I'm very active during the day. When I didn't include that physical activity, I instantly felt the deleterious results, to quote Derek from More Plates, More Dates. I'm like, damn, this is how people feel playing fucking video games all day. I fucking feel for you a little bit more. You know what I mean? So just a little bit to where you're not a couch potato, but not a whole lot. So next question, this was a great question. I gave like a kind of a quick response for it, but they said they just started working as a PT, you know, someone that, you know, may involve massaging their client or doing whatever it needs to do to manipulate their muscles. And they're experiencing forearm pain while benching. So you might notice the same thing if you're a younger guy and you've never worked like retail before. Like retail, you're on your feet all day and, you know, you're walking a little bit. Your feet are gonna feel fucking crazy the first day you do that, and your training session is more than likely gonna suck. First and foremost, it does get better. Second of all, if you notice that even after doing it repeatedly, like you've now been doing the job for, you know, 2-3 months and you still notice the elbow pain, you need to work those finger extensors. You need to do the antagonist work. This alone, just with your fucking fingers with no bands, is gonna create a pump in your wrist and in your elbow that's gonna make it feel better on its own. Now add a resistance band to that. You're gonna get a tremendous juicy pump in your wrist and in your elbow that you never thought you could have had before. That's gonna make your elbow and your wrist feel better over time. Just be consistent with it, bro. Good food for thought for anybody that may have a job like that. So, they said the average bench neglect enjoyer, 235 bench versus 600-pound dead, any way to kickstart some decent strength. Again, I said in the story very quickly, like, just get more jacked overall. But what that'll look like is, you can continue strength work for your deadlift. I would replace a little bit of that with just some lower stimulus or higher stimulus, lower fatigue variations. So like good mornings, back extensions, whatever. Put that on maintenance mode for a little bit. So don't get weaker at your deadlift just to get stronger at your bench. But take a little time to take away training economy from your deadlift to add to your bench a little bit. So maybe replace, if you're deadlifting twice a week, definitely keep the fucking deadlift volume in there. I imagine that you're a power lifter. Definitely keep, you know, like your main deadlift volume. So if you're someone that notices that, like, if you stop doing pause deadlifts, your deadlift strength goes to shit. Don't stop doing that. Likewise, if you do RDLs and you notice that is the driver of your progress on deadlifts, don't stop doing those. So do whatever it is that you need to do to maintain your fitness on deadlifts. Just add extra stuff to your bench days. So what that'll look like is you remove some deadlift stuff, you have extra energy, training economy, recovery to do maybe a few extra sets of deep dumbbell bench. It could be a hammer strength chest press. Pick all extended range of motion movements, because I imagine you're doing some sort of competition bench press volume. Add those extended range of motion movements, and directly, the more jacked you get, the bigger your bench is gonna get. So spend some time to just get more jacked. Tricep rope push downs, dumbbell bench, hammer strength chest press, weighted dips, weighted push-ups. If you know, you got a 5-head gym with extra bars and shit, you can do a Duffalo bar bench, you know what I mean? Or Yukon bar bench. There's a lot of shit you can do. Next question. So this is actually gonna be the last question of the week, y'all. I wanted to leave it with this because a lot of people reach out to me, they wanna be personal trainers and things like that. Something common that comes across everyone's mind in terms of personal training, strength and conditioning is, what do I do? What's the first step? The first step, in my opinion, to become a good personal trainer is to figure out, do you wanna be self-employed or do you wanna work for a gym? Like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? If you see yourself 5 years from now building up a resume and working for a particular gym that's gonna give you good commissions or give you a good salary or whatever, gather your certifications and experience accordingly. But if you wanna follow the more self-employed route, know that you don't need as much certification. You wanna get things like your insurance on deck to make sure that, like, if you get hurt or something like that, you're not paying out of pocket. Because what a lot of people don't say is that, you know, if you're self-employed, you don't have an employer to pay for your fucking medical insurance, your vision, dental, all that shit. Sorry, y'all, the camera cut off. But your employer isn't paying for things like your health insurance. So you either have to pay for it out of pocket, which can be expensive depending upon, you know, how much money you make, what state you're in, and so on, or you're just gonna have to go without it, you know what I mean? And that's the sad reality of a lot of these influencers. Like, that's why they be having to start these GoFundMes if they snap their shit up, which is, that shit ain't funny, that's unfortunate. And that's one of the, you know, something that you have to keep in mind with being self-employed. But the other thing is that you get tax write-offs, you get to keep all the money that you make, and you get more freedom to work with the kinds of people that you want to work with. So envision where you see yourself. Do you see yourself more corporate or more entrepreneur? More fucking Sammy Sausage Head or more Big Brandon Carter? If y'all know who that is. But this has been an excellent Q&A. Please leave any questions that you have about these questions down below. I have a banger video coming for y'all. So I made a community post the other day where I sneakily allowed y'all to tell me about different muscular imbalances that you had. And then a few people told me about some things that they were having trouble with. So we're gonna give you all the food for thought, all the strategies, all the tactics of the people who had lagging muscle groups. I'm gonna lay it out in that video. It's gonna be every question that you've ever had about lagging muscle groups answered, just like with the bulking and cutting one. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.